Last time I suggested that mistakes in the garden and in life aren't failures. They're compost. And to be totally truthful, I've made plenty of compost in my life over the years. If sharing it saves you a little bit of trouble, it's worth it. So come on, let's grow together. Dr. Dave here, aka the Gardenshrink. I'm an old psychologist with fresh insights into life, love, and gardening. Join me on a journey to increase both our fruit in the garden and in our professional lives. Whether you're just thinking about gardening as a hobby, or you're an old pro, or just someone interested in psychological advice minus the copay, I've got something for you. So come on, let's grow together. The garden is a microcosm of life. As a general rule, you reap what you sow. Diligence and good gardening practices often lead to a bountiful harvest. In life, conscientiousness and grit tend to lead to success as well. But you can't learn everything from books or podcasts. A lot of learning comes through experience, especially when things don't go as planned. But with the right attitude, we can begin to see these failures the way Thomas Edison did. When asked how he felt about his many failed experiments on his way to inventing the first incandescent light bulb, he reportedly replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Now, there's a guy who took lemons and made lemonade, who took wilted cucumber plants and made pickles, no, compost. Those failures didn't stop him. They became learning opportunities, improving the soil so that next time he could do better. Gardening really is a love affair, but it's also warfare. I face both old and new assaults on my vegetables and flowers every single year, and I've lost more than my share of battles. So I'm going to share a few of those losses with you. My pain is your gain. While I'm playing taps, you get to sing "Celebrate Good Times." Farmer Dave? Thanks, Dr. Dave. One of the biggest mistakes I've made when I first started gardening 23 years ago, and one I still make sometimes, is not paying close enough attention. It happened again just a few months ago with my cucumber plants. They were strong and healthy, but I got busy and only gave them superficial attention until I noticed wilting caused by angular leaf spot. Instead of treating it like a 5-alarm fire, I treated it like a harmless candle, and I got burned. It spread like wildfire, and you can guess the rest. I get the best results when I don't just respond to problems, but when I go looking for them before they show up. That means prevention. Checking the underside of leaves, looking at stems, and paying attention to the environment. Like noticing those little white moths flying around, and having a heart-to-heart with them before they lay eggs under my summer squash leaves. Another mistake I've made is failing to protect my new vulnerable seedlings. Baby transplants started indoors, and I'll be showing you how to do that next month. Need to be hardened off before planting. They need gradual exposure to the sun and outdoor temperatures, or else. Small seedlings are also vulnerable to hungry bunnies if you don't fence them out, or else. And in my garden, plants are at risk for cutworms. Never heard of them? Neither had I, until I came out day after day to find my tomato seedlings cut off at ground level, the poor stems laying beside them, looking up at me asking, "Why?" I learned that these insects live underground and come out at night. I also learned that simply placing a barrier around the stem at planting solves that problem. These mistakes don't happen anymore. Lastly, I've learned that too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing. Proper spacing, having boundaries is essential to maximizing your harvest. I've planted squash, tomatoes, and carrots too close together more times than I can count. My motivation was good. I was trying to use all my available space, but the result was smaller harvest and more problems. Plants competed for nutrients. Disease spread more easily, and it became harder to move through the garden to care for and harvest what I'd planted. So here's what experience has taught me. Inspect your plants closely at least every other day. Take an extra 5 minutes to look under the leaves. Check stems and fruit for anything unusual. And when you spot a problem, treat it like a 5-alarm fire. Think of transplants as baby plants because they are. Babies can't be left unprotected. They need gradual exposure and barriers to keep intruders out. And finally, follow seed packet spacing recommendations. And when in doubt, give plants more space than you think they need. They'll thank you with bigger beefsteaks and more zucchini than anyone actually wants. Dr. Dave. What struck me looking back is how rarely things fall apart all at once. In the garden, problems start small, yellowing leaves, a pest you barely notice. In life, it's often the same. We get busy, distracted, maybe scrolling a little longer than we planned, and we stop paying attention to the small signals: fatigue, irritability, distance, that quiet sense that something's off. Most trouble doesn't break down the door. It sneaks through the window when we're sleeping. And by the time we finally notice, it's usually already unpacked, kicked off its shoes, and made itself at home. Seedlings also taught me something else, that new growth needs protection. In the garden, tender plants don't belong in harsh conditions too soon, or they don't make it. In life, new intentions, goals, resolutions are just as fragile. New habits, new boundaries, new ways of living. Some things need time before they're exposed. They need a season of quiet, a little protection, and fewer hands involved. Wisdom isn't about proving how strong you are. It's about giving growth the conditions it needs to flourish. And lastly, I'm reminded of the need for space. I've learned the hard way that planting more doesn't always mean harvesting more. When plants are crowded, they compete, and everyone loses. Life works that way too. When our calendars get packed and our margin disappears, even good things start fighting with each other. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do for your garden and for your life is to thin things out and to create a little room to breathe. Growth, whether in the garden or in life, depends on noticing early, protecting what's tender, and leaving enough space for good things to grow. So take care, friends, and take care of what you're growing.